That's a very good question. But what I like the best is how you intend to address it. Attending to address it is not in my. It's not in my. I've passed the stage where I can address it. But it's up to
All right, welcome to Caribbean American News Media Platform. We want to greet everyone. Welcome to our broadcast. We are live on the air. Greetings to all. A special good night to all our viewers, those of you who are viewing via our YouTube channel or you are on our Facebook channel. Please share the live and tag a friend. Share the live and tag a friend. Yes, we are rebuilding our studio. So you got to bear with us. You can see the cameras in the back and everything else. We're doing some change around here in preparation for the work ahead. So I just again want to wish everyone a pleasant good evening, good night, whatever you want to say. It is sundown. The sun is down and we were on. Please share the live, tag a friend. Let me just spend some time greeting you because we have been so busy going after issues that we forsake our own people. All right. And so let me take my time and greet you, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on our, just let me have a look over here at our YouTube. Let me see if I can sign in to that channel. Witty, Reverend Witty. If we can sign in, log in, and yes, we are in. So very soon we'll be able to see the chat over there on our YouTube channel as our people come in. So we're going to start from the bottom of our Facebook page, and we're going to go up. Tonight we're going to have open discussion. We're going to open the lines. We want to hear from you, our listeners. Some of you have your personal experiences that you will want to share. And I have my rant, of course. You know, every time we get on, I got to rant. I got to pour out my soul, my friends. I got to just speak what's on my mind. And I try to be as honest and as fair as possible. What I can say to you, I am a strong supporter of the United Workers' Party, and what you will get here is a lot of United Workers' Party stuff, but I would try my best to give everyone a fair shakedown, I would say. No, fair opportunity to, defend their position, and to I would love to hear from everyone, all solutions, SLP, UWPs, independent. I want to hear from everybody, friends. I really want to do that, because sometimes we don't listen, and we write people off, and we block people, and I do a lot of blocking, of course. I have a lot of blocked people now, but those who are unruly, you get them out of the way. But for those of you who are party hacks and you support your party, whether UWP or SLP, and of course you want to prove a point, or you want to, challenge what I'm saying here, you're welcome to do so. And I will respect you. Once you respect me, you respect my viewers, and you respect this platform. All right? So here is the rules. These are new rules going into 2016. You can call. We can have discussions, disagreements, but no disrespect. Not to my viewers who have been here throughout all these years. And now that we have lost, and my viewers, Nuped, because this is the opposition. This is the opposition platform. And we will stand in place of the opposition. We are bigger than Bradley and Mr. Shastney. We are bigger than Mr. Shastney. We are bigger together, friends. We are sons and daughters of the country. So this is your official opposition link. And we will launch our opposition platform, God's willing, in January after the holidays. We're going to roll into holiday spirit, folks. So we have some shows coming up where we're going to just lighten your spirit with some, contributions. We're going to have people calling in to sing their favorite carol. We're just going to have people to tell us their past experience with holidays, Christmas in their country. I don't really celebrate Christmas, of course. I don't believe it's the birth of Christ, but it's your tradition, your custom. So we're going to open the platform for light moments. You can call and sing, wish happy season to a friend, a family. You can tell an old story, an old joke, whatever it is from back then. I'm going to open the platform as we get into the holiday spirit. People need a little cheer. People need to lighten up. People need to cool out, relax, and just be human for a while. I believe I have a responsibility to open the platform for that. Okay, now probably is some with the ID, but we opening the lines very early after my rant, so that you can call and let us know what is going on. How do you feel coming out of a general elections, going in, coming out? What's your feeling right now? How do you feel? Es cowbo or whole cow pabo? Yeah, of course. Well, my whole cow is bo, because listen to me, it is what it is. When you got to condition your mind when you go into something competitive. You got to understand that there is a winner, there is a loser. And if you don't condition your mind that you might lose, and you go in, yeah, we win. Well, Zafo Okila. But I, who understand what we're getting into, knew what it was, and of course the outcome does not affect me. It doesn't bother me. The people have spoken, and we'll talk about that. The people have spoken. We'll speak about this. We'll talk tonight a little about the people spoken December the 1st, and what should be your position going forward. All right, we got to deal with your position going forward after the December 1st general elections in St. Lucia. And I know what is happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The people there too have to move forward, especially the Labour Party government and supporters. Ralph Gonsalves, they need to understand how to heal and how to move forward. We have the NDP, who is the government now, that is the sister party of the United Workers' Party. They are in governance. And I can tell you, friends, that whole call Labour Party service pas bon, because they went into the elections believing that the opposition can never win, will never win, because who are these people? Look at who you are. Can you win an election with that? That's what they were saying to Dr. Friday. But Dr. Friday put a machine together that was second to none and was able to unseat Ralph Gonsalves of the Labour Party. So there's good news for us in our neighboring country, St. Vincent. And for those of you in St. Lucia, you got a little setback. A setback is not a finish line. Upoko fini. You're still there, right? So let's just go back to something from St. Vincent. Let's go over to St. Vincent for a minute. Share the live, tag a friend, and we're coming over to St. Lucia. We go over to St. Lucia to have some serious discussions there in the country. So here is something. So during the COVID-19 crisis in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that was, I believe, 2002, around there. Is it 2002 COVID-19? Is it 2001, 2002? Somewhere around there we had COVID-19. And we know many countries in the region had to invent stuff. New laws had to be put in place. Laws had to be, that was already on the books, had to be used, activated for the first time in history, such as the free movement of people, the restricting of people and their movement, opening hours of churches, shops, funeral services. So there was a whole lot of stuff that was new to the people. But something happened in St. Vincent and the Grenadines that did not happen over there in St. Lucia. And that is workers, public servants, teachers and nurses, police officers was fired, dismissed, because they did not take the vaccine. That's in St. Vincent under the Labour Party, Ralph Gonsalves government. They fired nurses and doctors who, some of them were very close to retirement. Some of them lost all their benefits as a result of Ralph Gonsalves. And I think that was a careless government, because a caring government would try everything in its power to protect these workers. So to just take away all their benefits, some of them have worked for 20 years in the system, 30 years in the system. And because they refuse, because of the freedom of conscience, they refuse to take a vaccine. They refuse to take medical intervention. They lost all their benefits. They lost all their life savings. Some of them lost their homes. They could not have paid their mortgage. Some of them lost their vehicles, their businesses. A lot of them went into distress. Many of them went into what you would call depression. Some of them had to walk to get a bus. Imagine you move from your own vehicle to get in public transport. It's humiliating. And Ralph Gonsalves embarrass those workers, humiliate them, victimize them. And that's why the people punish Ralph Gonsalves and his government. Ralph Gonsalves and the Labour Party in St. Vincent lost because of their treatment. Their treatment of these workers. And the workers stood up I am pleased to announce, and let me show you one of the workers who lost. She's a teacher, very experienced, I believe French teacher or Spanish in St. Vincent, very accomplished young woman. Let me just, Spanish and French teacher. That's how accomplished this teacher is. And she's a Christian. She loves the Lord. Spanish and French teacher. She, after so many years of disrespect and disregard by the Ralph Gonsalves administration, was reinstated by the Honorable Prime Minister of St. Vincent, Dr. Friday, Goodwin Friday. She's excited. If you look at her, she's smiling, she's happy. She was reinstated after 2019-20. Lost everything, benefits. Dr. Friday committed during the campaign that he would reinstate them. It is not even 3-4 weeks yet. Dr. Friday accomplished his first promise to St. Vincentians. And today, many of our public servants, police officers and teachers and nurses were ordered back to work with full reinstatement and benefits. Thanks to the Honorable Dr. Friday. This is what you call a caring government. And I'll tell you, friends, elections do have consequences. Vincentians went out in large numbers to vote this government out. With all their disgruntledness and I'm sure in the NDP you had frictions, you had issues. But all Vincentians placed their issues aside in the interest of the country and themselves, and they voted Ralph out. Unlike, I would tell you, in St. Lucia, where UWPs, the problem, they have their problems, and they want to burn down the whole country. Sometimes little issues that makes absolutely no sense. Boycott, stay home, take money. The party dish out money, they grab the money, and they're gone. A little rum, a little chicken, a little galvanized, a little fete, the free ride. Vote against their conscience or don't vote at all. UWP has a problem. UWPs have a problem. And they do not understand what unity is all about. Unity and diversity. Unity even when we have different opinions and different ideas. Unity even when we are hurt because of some past issues in the party. UWPs don't know how to put things aside in the public interest, and in their own interest, and in the interest of the development of the country. And they would take the money and stay home, and they would tell you Shastney not good. And I'm not voting because of Shastney. I'm not voting because of Guy. I'm not voting because of this one. I'm not voting because of that one. At the same hand, the Labour Party supporters, disgruntled. You think they don't have problems over there? Leadership fight, who want to take over from Philip J. Perry. You don't think there's a fight over there? But what they do is they come together for a common cause. And their cause was to remove or to keep Alan Shastney and the United Workers' Party out of government. That was their task. That was their role. And that's what they went for together. But because of the one common good for them, they came out and they voted. While you had UWPs complaining, jumping on the Labour bandwagon because they didn't get their cheese, their bread and cheese, or because they can't have their way, and so they're so disgruntled that they're willing to vote against their own selves. vote against their own families or not vote at all to punish the UWP leaders, whether it's the chairman or the general secretary or the PR or the political leader. I'm punishing them. I'm not voting. I don't like them. I'm punishing them. But the truth is, friends, you ain't punishing them. They will still survive. Some of them have their businesses. Some of them have their lifelines. There's a song that says, throw out the lifeline. Someone is drifting today. But the drifter is you. You thought they were the drifter. But no, some of them were the lifeline because they can survive. They can weather any financial storm or food crisis or medical crisis. Many of them can jump on a plane and boom, out of the country. And so the indiscipline of a people, unsettled in their minds, and would want to burn an entire house to get one little cockroach. And it speaks of a mindset in our nation. And you see all the roros that have taken place. Every time you hear UWP, Jiwayne cussing another one, exposing, calling, calling this one, telling them UWP business, just to undermine UWP. And they're passing information, chasse pas bon. This one volé. With the intention of they themselves feeling good at the end of the day, of course. But loyalty are for big men. And commitment is for big people. Brave people. Determined people. People with their head on, not with their head off. Because I can have a problem in my party, and I do have problems with my party. But you will never get me burning the party house down. So I can satisfy myself at the end of the day and say, hey, look, hey guys, chasse petty. Hey. And then you, next week after the rum money is finished and the campaign money is finished, what you going to do when the party is over? Yeah. And then you start looking around who you can borrow money from. To get some rice, to get a juice pad. Now give me $5 to buy a drink now. Help me raise some money to I have to go hospital. Guess I can't get no job, guys. All the boys in the block. When the money runs out, the last cent is spent, I know what will happen. Back to ground zero. Chastney will still be there. All the politicians, Laura, Norbert, all these guys would still be there. But you wouldn't see them. Nothing new under the sun. No more monies. They will drive with their vehicle glasses up again, just like they did before. Canaries ancillary, upakai wear candidate to. Back to ground zero, complaining again until the next cycle. Another set of money is dished out and your troubles continues until you die. It is time for the people to use the brain. And it's time for you to reform yourself your mind. And I'm not saying those of you who voted for the Labour Party, genuine voters for the Labour Party, you're Labour Party supporters, you've always been Labour Party. I'm not speaking to you, of course. You support your party. That's your democratic right. But for the greedy Joes who just want a temporary fix like a drug addict, just a temporary fix. Just give me enough to survive for the month. Then you are the problem in our society. Because governments take you for pappy show. Because you maybe act like a pappy show to them. That's why they can dish out money to you. Not with genuine intention to lift you out of poverty or to set you on a foundation where you will not have to come back to them. But they give you that temporary fix. And a temporary fix for you seems like a long-term fix. Until the song is repeated in your head at the end of your journey. What you gonna do when the party is over? And so, our people got to reform themselves, their minds, and allow their minds to be transformed, renewed, so that betterment can be seen and can be realized in our nations, but in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Vincentians were not having it. The Vincentians felt the pain of our doctors and our nurses. Our teachers, they felt their burden. And they stood up with them and they decide that Dr. Friday, you are the one that we're going to put in place to assist us to undo what Ralph did. Yes, Ralph had some developments in the country. Grand opening for the port in Kingstown, $700 million. Dr. Friday had to come in, do a walkthrough of that port, realizing that the port was not really ready. Dr. Friday had to open a second port out of Kingstown to accommodate the Christmas movement, the barrels and shipments coming into the country. But Ralph Gonsalves wanted to have a ribbon cutting ceremony to mess with the minds of Vincentians and say to them, look what I did for you, vote me in. But the Vincentians were not having it. We saw the very same thing in St. Lucia with the hospital. Grand handing over ceremonies. And then say to the people, I didn't promise you a hospital, I promised you a building. And the people swallowed that and voted because they were promised a building and they got a building. And healthcare cannot be realized as yet in the building. The flip side, if I'm saying the United Workers' Party had won the elections, they would have had to do exactly what Dr. Friday did in St. Vincent. Tore the building that was handed over. And the very same result, they would realize that the building might not have been readied to accommodate people and would have had to do something else in order to facilitate the medical challenges in the area. Nothing new under the sun, friends. Mem bet, mem puel. Whoosh here and whoosh there is the same whoosh. Mentality, policies are almost the same. And so all the colleagues around the region ran to St. Lucia, abandoned Ralph in St. Vincent, they met him in St. Lucia because there's a code yellow in St. Vincent that would not tolerate their red. So here's what happened in St. Vincent. The teacher or teachers, doctors and policemen were sent back to work by the Prime Minister. Do you know what? The ULP, the Labour Party people who were placed in certain positions, you know what they were trying to do? To block the teachers and the civil servants from coming back to work. Saying that they don't know, they got nothing official, and all this nonsense. Own Vincentian, their own people who went through misery for all these years. And now a prime minister comes in, a code yellow prime minister comes in and decide, look, I'm going to lift all this nonsense off the backs of my people. In other words, let my people go. And now you have public servants who working in the different ministries, forming the fool and pretending like they're not hearing the proclamation or declaration from the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Friday of St. Vincent. They prefer to see their own people on the breadline, losing all their benefits because they have theirs and Ralph allowed them to have theirs. And the others who voted them out, they are not St. Vincentians. Very same thing in St. Lucia. SLP government in power, the other group is not St. Lucians. Same mentality. All whoosh is whoosh. That is the mentality of the Labour Party throughout the length and breadth of the region. And they're coming together to strengthen each other, you know. Dr. Friday dealt a deadly blow to the Labour movement in the region, you know. He blocked Ralph Gonsalves in his track. Blocked him in his track. And I said to you, St. Lucians, don't think the Labour Party in St. Lucia is going to survive for long there, you know. And I'll show you something. Shed a live tiger friend. I will show you something. I spoke about the Church of Israel in Egypt. And a very short journey took them how many years? The Dr. Friday's opposition in St. Vincent. They came very close over and over to win that election under Mr. Eustace, who was the opposition leader, I believe, after James Mitchell. And they were in the wilderness for years and years and years. And they lost elections. Ralph Gonsalves mocked them, laughed at them. And the NDP knew that it won't be long before arrogant Ralph feel very powerful. And you can't touch me. He knew that Ralph would trip over himself with his own policies. As a matter of fact, Dr. Friday knew that Ralph Gonsalves would have tripped over his own policies and self-ego. So Ralph tried to put his son in. Vincentians wipe his son out of his constituency. Clean him out. Clean. Not here. It's not a family dynasty. So it's just a matter of time. Power normally corrupts the head. And people trip over because their head get too heavy and too big for them, so they trip over their own heads and their mouths. So there ain't nothing new under the sun. What you gonna do when the party is over? When victory rallies are over? When constituency parties are over? What are you gonna do? When you gotta face the breadline? Or you got to face health care. Or you got to face your roads and your gas stations. What are you going to do when the party is over? What are you going to do? So Ralph Gonsalves in St. Vincent mocked the NDP and Adam Eustace, the opposition leader at the time, stepped aside. Dr. Friday emerged as the leader of the party. Dr. Friday was abused in the house by the UWP, dragged out by his pants, his belt. Police officers abused the now Prime Minister of St. Vincent, dragged him out of the house, arrested him. But out of all Dr. Friday's pain and embarrassment, Dr. Friday brought together a movement of Vincentians that were not plain. Vincentians are not dotish. Dr. Friday took his insult from them. He stood up in the house to speakers of the house, NDP opposition leaders stood up in the House of Assembly in Kingstown, stood up to Ralph Gonsalves, sometimes saying to him, "Shut your mouth," challenging even the Speaker of the House. But they stood together because they knew that the Vincentian people was about to line up behind them to remove Ralph Gonsalves and the Labour Party from the backs of the people. And it's not to say that Ralph did not do anything good in St. Vincent, you know. Ralph built an international airport in the country. At that time, the people voted him back in. The Labour Party, they're smart. So they build big projects and then they call the elections at the almost opening of their projects. That's what they do. We saw it in St. Lucia with St. Jude's Hospital. We see it in St. Vincent. You see it in other countries. Vincentians voted him in. Ralph Gonsalves, once again, the airport was done. A well-needed airport. We could not get direct flights into St. Vincent. We were using the E.T. Joshua Airport, a very small airstrip in Annisville, a little out off the outskirts of Kingstown. And so when the people got the airport, international airport from Ralph Gonsalves, and they saw American Airlines and JetBlue and all those major airlines, some of them for the first time seeing jumbo jets in the country, they were excited and they voted him back. But he got really powerful, of course. He got really powerful. Until his time came to an end in politics. When the people, and he tried it with the wharf in Kingstown, the new port, build a massive port, $700 million, massive infrastructure financially. And he rushed to open it. Pierre was there and toyed and loved the site, and all the prime ministers, he brought them to see his baby. But the Vincentians they have had it. And that new port in St. Vincent could not have saved Ralph Gonsalves. Nothing new under the sun. And St. Lucians need to watch this space because there is absolutely nothing new, St. Lucians, under the sun. So, here's what I'm going to be saying here to you. Let's do something. I have some other stuff that I want to share. So let's come back over to St. Lucia a bit. We've talked a lot about St. Vincent. You guys, those of you who remember the SLP saying to me, "Go back to your country, talk about St. Vincent." Now I'm talking about St. Vincent, whole Koyo Pabon. Because my party won in St. Vincent, I supported them. Code Yellow is loaded and loaded and loaded in St. Vincent right now. Teachers are back to work, policemen and nurses who are off the jobs. My own families. Brenton Smith the General Secretary of the NDP. He was on this program many times. My brother and neighbor. We grew up playing cricket together. He was a police officer from the time I left St. Vincent. Well, not from the time I left St. Lucia, of course. St. Vincent. But we were childhood friends. But he joined the Royal St. Vincent Police Force. He was a community guy with cricket clubs in the communities. Always a community guy. And he was fired after all these years. Victimized by Ralph Gonsalves as a seasoned, experienced. This man is qualified, the most qualified police officer in St. Vincent as far as I'm concerned. The now General Secretary of the NDP. And I'm hearing that his name is coming up now for police commissioner. Well deserved if Dr. Friday appoints him. But sometimes you just got to wait a little longer, my people. The victory is sure. The victory is always sure. Sometimes the victory would be painful. Sometimes you got to stand in the wilderness to learn some lessons, like the children of Israel who came out of Egypt with all their baggages and their wars and their fighting among themselves and their disobedience. The Lord say, I have a leader for you. No, we want another leader. The Lord say, okay, fine. I try to get you into a nice place and I'm trying to give you everything that you need and you're telling me you want something else. So here's your something else. Half of them died in the wilderness, of course. But the promised land was there. The victory was there. The promised victory was there. So I said to UWPs, let not your heart be troubled. Don't get yourself sick, bent out of shape. God's will be done in the nation, whether you like it or not. And it was God's will. I don't care what anyone say. It was God's will that them fellas go back into power. It was his will. Not the people's will. The people's will, based on what I saw, was for Alan Shastney and his government to be in place. But God said, hold it. Just like the children of Israel, they had to be halted in the wilderness because you poke power, you party power yourself. They were second deputy, first deputy. All kind of people wanted roles, coming out from Egypt. Some of them come out with all their nasty habit from Egypt and want to go in a new place. Some leaders just show up from nowhere and want to be bosses. Those who are hiding in the bush waiting for big position. Jesus said, no. God said, you're going to be walking through this place making the wrongs until you unlearn, and you fix your mind, because their problem was a mindset. They were in Egypt and they adopted all the nastiness in Egypt. And guess what? God tried to shake off all their nastiness, nasty attitude, their messed upness, the nastiness, man. He had to shake it off in the wilderness. But the victory was already promised to them, but they couldn't see it. Flabos, listen to me tonight. I'm a strong flabo. And nobody tainting or blowing out this flabo light. No labor supporter or surrogate can curse me enough or insult me enough or threaten me enough to out this flabo. You hear what I'm saying? I'm a Christian first. And I will say to you, move on. Don't be out there making people make you look like a fool. You're grumbling, you're complaining. They thief the election. Repeating the story over and over and over to yourself. They're thieving the election. How are you going to fix it? How are you going to unteef it? It's rigged. How is it going to be unrigged? You were told to watch the electoral department. You were warned about it. You were told to fix the list to ensure that there's a clean list, that everything is in place. And now you're complaining, they thief. Here is the news, and I hope we get it through our skull. There is a government in place, and that government is the Labour Party government. So listen, Flabos, while you are in the wilderness, my honest advice to us is fix our minds. Fix your mind. Fix your minds. Prepare your mind for victory. Prepare your attitude for victory. Because nobody can talk to you all. You're cussing them, spreading all kind of lies and rumors on individuals, things that you don't know, but you want victory. You are going to be in the wilderness, not for long, but the victory is assured, but you are in the wilderness so that we can fix our minds. I have accepted the wilderness experience. I'm not afraid of the wilderness because it helps me to reflect. And I hope that you can reflect too. Some of you wasn't talking to people. You were not talking to people. Some of you were spreading private information from the United Workers' Party to the Labour Party, but you wanted victory. Some of you came out because of some position you want somewhere in the world. And so you already acted like bourgeois. So stay in the wilderness and be the bourgeois in the wilderness. Think about with some of the attitude that I've seen and experienced, if we had won, what we would have said to our own people, what we would have done to our own people. And this is a fact. Flabos passing Flabo, this one in the camp and playing double role, double agent. Let me tell you something about Flabos. And I'm beating you up for a minute, but I will heal you, my Flabo. I love you all. If you listen to me, folks, you will do well. You will heal quickly, and you will be heading onto the path of victory. You hear me? God is not mocked. We could have prayed all we want if our minds were only for the win, and we were not willing to be calm, to be pleasant, to love people, to be caring. Whole konopatekai bon. God is God. He knows the heart. You can call his name 100 times. So, let me say something to the Flabos. Flabos, listen to me. Listen and listen good. It is time for self-reflection. It is time for us to look at the inside, evaluate, and prepare to take off. But you got to be willing to do what is right. There are steps that need to be taken. And I say something, and I said it the last time. This is not the Labour Party business. They can't tell us who is our leader and who is not our leader. They're out of place. I said it, and I'll say it again. What's going on right here, what's going on right now in the United Workers' Party, not their business. That's not their affair. No, that is not their business. Not at all. And they can't dictate to us because they say to us, our guys are white, guy is not one of us, not go back to your country. I think at the airport, one guy said, Shasta have to go now. He got to go. He got to leave. So I said, leave to go where? To go where? Where is he going? Again, the nasty talking points. And some of us are drinking the Kool-Aid. Some of the Flabos are drinking the Kool-Aid and they're repeating the very same nastiness. Shastney have to go for the party to go forward. No. For the party to go forward, you got to fix your mindset. You got to settle in your mind that you're a flabbo, not a Labour Party supporter. And therefore, when we have internal business and squabble, it stays with us, not them. Some of you are quick to pick up. I call in this one. I tell him Anson. I tell him Yardi. I tell him what happening. Exposing private issues from different branches. You ain't no flabbo if that's what you're doing. You're a double agent. A true flabbo will fight their fight on the inside. A true flabber will challenge leadership from the inside and demand accountability from the inside. But you will protect your party. You won't go and tell the enemy that we plan a big meeting, private meeting along the road, and here's exactly what happened in the meeting. We will not do that, friends. So that Yardi will come online and tell you, hey, must have him when somebody called me, a big person called me in the party. And I've heard it over and over before. Huh? So, those of you, and I keep saying it again, and that's why we need a total reset in the United Workers' Party. A total reset. A total reset, because they are double agents who are disgruntled and want to be in the river on the bank. Just in case they win, I with them. If they lose, I with the Labour Party. Reverend, anytime you see a flabber jumping over to the Labour Party and they were strong leaders in our party, something is wrong. If you have your party at heart, you'd want to stay and ensure that you build the party. And sometimes, if you're not a coward and a weak leader yourself, then you will stand and you will fight. Yes, we have leaders who have brick wall head. You can't say nothing to them. They think they know it all. But you will be able to break through. You know what it's called? Stick-to-itiveness. Uka Ekuka parle until Gojou sec me ou parle pièce côté. Là ou ka wete. Because you are United Party, you're United Workers Party strong. Huh? So, the UWP business is not the Labour Party business. It becomes your business when we put it in the public space, or when we go to the House, or when we select senators, or when we select our own representatives and we say to you, here they are, then it becomes your business. Outside of that, you are not in our selection business. We don't need your advice. We have our own advisors among us. Yeah? We have brilliant minds among us. You mind your own business. I never see a party win an election and all they talk about is our internal affairs. Who resign, who ain't resign, who should be leader, who should go for the party to win. That's ignorance. How do you want us? You want us to win? Oh, let Shastney stay. If Shastney stay, you always be in the wilderness forever. If Shastney win, if Shastney stay, Zafini, Swallow Fini. No, Flabo is not feeding anywhere. Because if we had followed you guys and we had abandoned John Compton, whole Konu Patebo right now, exotic, we know. Is that true? You know who is the best thing in St. Lucia for you guys? The John Compton family. Lady Compton, her daughter, whole John Compton family is the best sliced bread for you all. Did you all remember that John Compton had a family, a wife and children, when you were attempting to throw poop on him in the boulevard and take away his parking lot and insult him, call him Jabla, and say all the nastiness about him? Block the NIS. Try to block the whole NIS business that he put in place. Tell the farmers to strike and to burn people's sheds because John Compton want to take their monies. Right now, they don't have one insurance. or nothing for retirement. John Compton tell them, put aside a little cent. We will take a little 5 cents and put it aside for you. When you can't work again, at least you will have 5 cents. The Labour Party said, oh, John Compton want to thief your money. And yeah. Burn down everything, strike. You didn't know you had a daughter. You didn't know you had a wife. You didn't know he was a good man then. He's only a good man in death. But we're not going to allow you to repeat that nastiness on Alan Chastney. No, that's not going to work. If we retire Mr. Chastney, we retire him because we want to retire him. But we're not going to retire him because you tell us to get rid of him for us to win. Get out of here. We didn't ask you all for advice. You guys who on the man back non-stop, insulted him and his family and his children, disrespected him. You dirty him. It was a campaign against him because Kenny Anthony says that the elections is against him and the Chastneys. And you know who joined Kenny Anthony's fight and the Chastneys? Buddy, King, and all the others, Andy, Danny, all those who left, join in that fight against the Chastneys. But you can't fight against the Chastneys and not fight against UWPs. We are learning how to stand around our leaders. Those who need to be stand around, because Lani Yonde no panic to stand around yourself. No. So let's stick with our political leader. When I say stick, let's stand around him. Don't spread talking points. Don't share talking points from the Labour Party. That's what they want. And let me say something. There's a democracy in this United Workers' Party. It should prevail. And if it was broken, we need to fix it. Yeah? So here, what happens? Mr. Chastney tenders his resignation. The party National Council met last evening, and let's read the letter from them. 8th of December 2025, the United Workers' Party. The United Workers' Party convened a meeting on the National Council, its highest decision-making body, on Monday, December 8th, 2025, to discuss recent political developments, including resignations submitted by the party leader, Alan Chastney. After deliberation, the body reached a clear and unanimous decision not to accept the resignation at this time. Alan Chastney will therefore continue to serve as party leader until upcoming convention. The United Workers' Party remains committed to serving the public interests, strengthening our organization, and working constructively towards our shared goals. We thank our members, supporters, and the public for their continued trust. Leonard Spiderman Toot, Public Relations Officer of the United Workers' Party. So the party decided, look, Mr. Chastney We're not going to accept it at this point. Instead, we will go to a national convention and we will, next year, God's willing, we will have elections for a political leader. And not only political leader, you know, tout moun, tout moun, everybody. Because if we're looking for a reset, if you're looking for a reset, folks, you can't reset only with political leader. You got to reset with tout moun. Everybody, tout moun. Do you know what tout moun means? Everybody. Huh? Everybody, friends. So for me, I support the decision of the United Workers' Party National Council. I'm not too happy right now with some of the National Council, you know. But I'm not going to come here and create this big hoorah and drama over internal matters. No. No, I'm not going to do it. But all I'm saying to you, friends, that the party is alive and the National Council met. That's to show you how much alive it is. They met. We still have a political leader, and our political leader as of today is the Honorable Alan Chastney. He and his team will get us to convention. At convention, who else want to be leader can put their names forward and fight the good fight. Here is what's going to happen. Same thing that happened with Buddy. All those who wanted position in the party, you're going to have more kings and more buddies. Because every time we have had conventions to select a political leader, we always have bitter UWPs who can't stand not to be political leader, who will go on the sideline and create drama for the party. And you know what they're going to say? Chastney not good. Chastney is a dog. Chastney is a foreigner. Chastney not good. Why? Because they were not selected. And Mr. Chastney was selected. Well, the process was not good. Look at what they do in the process. They treated us bad. They didn't select you. That's not treating you bad. And the selection of a political leader is just like regular campaigning, you know. The political leader got to go out there and win the confidence of the people. Prove to them, the delegates and everyone else, that he's the man for the job. So if you can't compete in this competitive fight, then hold call pardon. You should not be a leader if you're going to stand on the sideline and say the party is not good because you thought that you were next in line. As far as I'm concerned, there ain't no next in line right now. We need the right man for the job. Because if the next in line is not aligned enough, then there should never be a no next of nothing. If we have to go to Jericho to get a good political leader for the party, let's go there. But next in line, this is not the Queen of England's business. Next in line, you saw what happened to Ralph next in line in St. Vincent? Old Koi Pabo and his little son who was next in line? Huh? Alva is next in line. As far as I'm concerned in the Labour Party, well, can I talk a bit of the Labour Party's business for a minute?
Mon passe à point magie bêtise ça.
Relax, man. Let me talk.
That's a very good question. But what I like the best is how you intend to address it.
I know, boss.
Attending to address it is not in my...
I know.
It's not in my...
I know, but let me address it.
I've
Okay,
passed the stage where I intended when I
Okay, Mr. PM, come on. You just got sworn in, you go on this again, you start again. But listen, folks. Listen. Listen to this. As far as I'm concerned, Olliver Baptiste, is that his name from Labrie? He's the one that should be next in line for leadership in the St. Lucia Labour Party, you know. Let me just study their business for a minute because they have been studying ours. So why can I not spend 5 minutes studying their business? A wise mayor. So here is this. Let's just talk. This is not gossip. We don't gossip here. We're just imagining things. Now, as the world turns, of course. Now, listen to this. As the soaps turn, here is this. So, Hilaire just showed up and became deputy leader, right? Now, Alva is there all the time fighting with GDP and all kind of story, all kind of airplane and altitude and latitude and all kind of trude. You hear him in the House with his big sophisticated and Mr. Speaker and all the nice things the man was there doing all these years, you know. But here comes, that's not Mr. Jafali, right? Is he Mr. Jafali? Oh, Mr. CIP shows up. No. Sorry, Mr. Rover shows up. I don't know what to say, friends. There's a whole sort of stuff that I don't know what to say. But let's just get back on track, of course. So here is the story. So Alva Baptiste is there all the time. Mr. Airplane is there all the time. Mr. GDP is there all the time. Yeah. Let's stick with GDP and altitude and latitude. And Mr. Speaker ready to take off. It's a clear day to take off. So, yes, Mr. Airplane, of course. Why in the world is Alva Baptiste not the Deputy Prime Minister in St. Lucia? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Folks, very soon I'll look at the live so we can block those who are disrupting, all right? Because I don't want any disruption. I'm not going to tolerate it. People can come, they can be respectful, they can comment, but don't disrespect the platform, the host, or our supporters. So let me just give you all the soaps, right? Now, you all might call me a prophet later on, but thank me later, all right? On this one, you can call me a false prophet if you want. I'll accept that because I'm just blowing some steam, of course. No, just hen kono shalak. Say, muna flog no in the boulevard. You know, you flog no. Mama, your foot no. Kuti kwatelma. More dummy, bien. Yes, sir. I need to get some more tikwa in order for me to sleep. But that's just, you know, Mr. Okay. Don't laugh at us, please. So, back to the story. So, Alva Baptiste should be next in line to be the Prime Minister of this country. Now, I'm just looking at Labour Party business. I'm just telling you, based on Labour Party business, Alva Baptiste should be the one, as far as I'm concerned. He put in the time. He never lost his seat. He has been there. So he should be, as far as I'm concerned, a high-ranking guy of consequence, according to my friend Lincoln Pascal, of consequence in the Labour Party. But there's a problem, of course. Guess what? You have Ernest Hilaire.
That's a very good question. But
I know. A whole call myself. So you have Baptiste. You have Musa. You have Sean again.
That's a very good question. But what I like the best is how you intend to address it.
Well, you will figure it out when they address you. So, Sean, Buddy is now on the scene. Anywhere Buddy go, Buddy wants to be the leader, you know. Yes, Buddy. You have Sean, Hele, Buddy, Alva, Musa. Brethren, that look like World War X in the Labour Party soon. So they have enough to take. Listen to me. When that type of thing start, guess what? They won't have time for UWP and their internal business, you know. Because when Buddy T, and by the way, I forgot Steve, former Prime Minister. Who wouldn't want to be Prime Minister? Gassa. When them fellas start whispering, Gassa pay pa bon Gassa. I know tea pay Gassa. Gassa say moi vote for me, I'll give you a position. Vote for me. When that start to happen, UWP business will go on and they won't even have time to talk about our business. So don't worry about them. I'm just saying to you, my flubbos, don't worry about them, fellas. Very soon, their whole car will not be bon. All right? So you hang in there and stick with your party. And what I'm telling you is real. It sounds like, it's not like a joke. But thank me later. You can call me false prophet now, but thank me later when my prophecy is fulfilled in the land. But the truth of the matter is, friends, with the United Workers' Party, the United Workers' Party have won, we have lost, and ain't a big deal right now. We can't undo it. But what I want you guys to do is to stop with this stolen elections, computer system. St. Lucia, as far as I am aware, and I must make this clear, I'm going to say this to you. St. Lucia does not have a full electronic voting system. They do not have it. The laptops that you saw, and I'm not into conspiracy, I'll tell the truth. The laptop that you saw was to verify individuals when they come to the polls. They would take your ID, punch in your name, or look at the list, and then they would be able to identify you. Because some of the people, even though they're from the communities, they might not know you. But they got to be able to identify you. That's why also you can vote without an ID. You know that, right? Once somebody there can can clear you, can identify you, then they can look for your name once you give them the name, and they can get you voting, of course. And that's why we need electoral reform. All these things are not too good. All these things, I wouldn't do that at all. I would want you to be able to ID yourself through a state ID or something so that we know that you're legit and that you can vote. Your name might be there, but if I say my name is John Brown and John Brown is dead, and then there's a host of the stuff. I'm just saying, I don't want to go into conspiracy and undermine the electoral department. I really don't want to do that. But I was saying about the computer system. The computer is used for verification of ID, and not for not for counting, voter counting. You understand what I'm saying? Because we had two agents, and the rep or the candidate would have had access, would have been able to go in while they're counting. He too could have been in the room, of course. But we had two agents. The representatives from the electoral department would have been there. the Labour Party representatives would have been there. If they're independent people, I'm sure the independent reps would be there in order to view and to monitor and to ensure that the process is going on the right way. So, at the end of the counting, each ballot, 1, 2, 1 for the Labour, 1 for the Flabo, 1 for the Labour, 1 for the Flabo. You have both agents monitoring it. If you're saying that there's a problem when the figures are entered, then there's a problem. There's a problem with your agents in the process, because your agent should be awake enough to know that we got 400 votes in this box. So when now them fellas maybe enter the 400 on their system into the electoral database or whatever they have, then you would still have your 400. You would have your documentation to prove and to match what they're saying. But we do not have, as far as I'm concerned, and maybe somebody can correct me on this, of course, the electoral director assistant. By the way, I met him in Dennery, the electoral head. I met him in Dennery after the recount. I would love to have a conversation with him one of these days so he can take us through the process and to educate us. That one of the problems is that the electoral department was not really out there as they should, educating the citizens of the country day by day, moment by moment, until the elections. Even if there was an electronic system, all that, we should have been educated about it to avoid speculations. And we have seen, even with the government, a whole lot of holding back of information, and people are just left in the dark to assume things. But I would warn us as supporters of the United Workers' Party, be very careful in undermining your electoral department. There's a whole lot that need to be fixed there. But you cannot undermine the integrity, folks, of your electoral department. I am not saying there is no issue at the electoral department, but be careful in undermining it. Okay, for instance, let's say the United Workers' Party won. The electoral department would have been good because we won the elections. So, and that's what I'm saying. Let's use wisdom, friends. And let us be cautious. Yes, there's a lot of stuff that took place that should not have taken place during the process. A lot of stuff. Yes, we need reform. And that's the road we need to tread on right now. We need to clean up our voters list. Dead people should not be on the list. Systems need to be linked with NIS and with other agencies, so we know when an individual dies, then automatically they are removed from the system. You can't have a list with dead people on it. And you have a system in the country that registered the death. You know how you register death? When your loved one dies, you have to get a death certificate. The death is registered. So how come in 2025 that department is not linked to the electoral department and the NIS? Why? Why in the world our system is not modernized that way? So automatically, instead of having a whole list of dead people, that because of the link system, you bounce people off when they're dead. Once you have the death certificate, it's registered in the system, the government system, then you bounce them off. Deceased. So there's a whole lot, friends. There's a whole lot. And I'm not saying you would not have dead people on the list, because suppose election called Tuesday and somebody die the Monday or the Sunday, it will take some time almost for you to get a death certificate or to get it registered. So you're going to have 1 or 2 people still, I'm sure of that. But why can't we fix our system, our list? People have been recommending for years that we fix that list. So I want Flabos to be cautious, but I want you, Flabos, to deal with your internal defects so that we can deal with the electoral department. Nothing right now is going to change Philip J. as the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. Today he is, tomorrow he will be. Until 5 years, as it was in the beginning, December 1st, so shall it be at the end of 5 years. He's going to be until, except for some scandal, some major happenings within his party where an election will have to be called. Until then, he will be. So why spend all your energy on the elections were stolen? Why spend it there and not spend it on let's wash ourselves and prepare for the next general election? Huh? Talk to me, somebody. Talk to me. Now, someone said they were shifting. Jean friends, we do not have an American voting system where there is back door and front door, as far as I'm concerned. I'm just saying. Again, we got to be very cautious. And I'm telling you, Flabos, you got to listen to me on this one. You got to listen to me on this one. What is the back door? What is the back door? If somebody can call me and explain that to me, then I would appreciate it. What is the back door? We vote in St. Lucia. We vote in St. Lucia, my people, on paper ballot. You put an X. Those of you who went in the thing and vote, you put an X by Ben, or you put an X by Prosper. What is backdoor about that? You have 2 agents from the Labour Party, 2 agents from the United Workers' Party, and the representative of from the electoral department checking the votes after the elections, and submitted that we and both agents of the UWP and the SLP are confirming that we, UWP, have 200 votes and the Labour have 500, and we all agree in that little space, that's what it is. How is it, or where is the back door? That's what I'm trying to figure out, St. Lucians. That is what I need someone to clarify for me, honestly. If I can get clarification on that from the electoral department of someone who knows about the back door, then I'll be very happy. And if there is a back door, there's proof of a back door, then we got to hold people accountable. And that's a fact. So, until we get clarification as to how possible it is for someone to go into the system and change numbers, and we have agents who we are paying to monitor this, then we need to, our agents need to be accountable also. You understand what I'm saying, friends? So when we say that the elections was stolen, let's say in Dennery, then I am saying you will have to talk also about your agents from the different parties. Because if your agent stays there, fall asleep, and allow our votes to be stolen, then we have a problem. Not only with backdoor, but with our agents. Anyway. So I will read your comment. Somebody said computer. We do not have computerized voting in St. Lucia. We have computerized voting counting in the United States and other major countries. You are given a piece of paper here in the United States, and you have to color. You have to highlight the party, Democratic Party, and the president and the congressman and the city and the fire marshal and the different people, because you have a whole list in the United States of people you vote for. So what sometimes you do is that you vote Democrat right down, or you vote Republican right down. So you vote in whether you know the Republican representative or not, or the congressman or the city council guy, you vote in Democrat right down. When you push that in the machine register those votes for all these individuals electronically. That you can have a backdoor for. But that's what I'm saying. We do not vote electronically in St. Lucia. We don't highlight so that the computer can read. We put a tiqua. There is no computer reading tiqua in St. Lucia. Howell says, but they're putting it in the computer. They put it in the computer after all agents verify that that is exactly what's in the box. Then it is entered into the data. So what I'm saying that if the data is compromised, or the person who is putting in the information, the data into the computer system, the computer don't put it in by itself, you know. Somebody got to witness it going in. When it goes in, if what you as an SLP have on your paper is not matching what you're seeing on your television or what you are seeing at the electoral department, then you have a right to say that is not the figures that we have. So the back door would be the individual who is entering the data into the computer system. Not the back door, who is entering the front door. So the problem in St. Lucia would be the front door, not really the back door. And I know I might be bursting some of, our bubble, but we got to be cautiously cautious. That's why we train agents. So let me just say to you before we move on from this point, right? And I'll take your call, and I wish somebody can call me to give me some assistance on this matter. I'm not an expert. I'm just doing a little common sense discussion here with you, friends. I understand electronics. I have been trained by the elections department here in New York. I work the polls. I work the system. I work the computer. I assist people to vote. I enter their vote. I do a lot of stuff. So that's what I'm trying to figure out, the back door that we're speaking about. I'm trying to figure it out. Solutions. And I would love somebody to explain to me what is the back door. Again, the front door would be the person who is entering the data. So if the person is supposed to enter 200 for UWP, maybe let's say they're a hack, they will add 150. They will have 100. That's where the problem can be. Now, the question we should ask is, how is that process done of entering the data? So the question should be, who are the individuals who are present when the data is being entered into that computer? Because there is no, as far as I know, there is no electronic nothing actually counting your papers. Somebody got to correct me again. It is someone entering the data. 150 UWP, you type that in, bam, enter. SLP 400, pop, 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 enter. Now, a well put together system, of course, like that, would dictate that you have maybe representative from each parties at that point when you're entering that data, and the individual from the electoral department who is entering. So you would have a lawyer from the party, from each party, or two rep from the parties and the electoral department people doing the entering on the data, so they can see the different parties who are represented, can see the person entering there, entering the right information to the system. Somebody said, well, there is the possibility is that, there can be, somebody can write up some backdoor access to that software where somebody can be like a document, is it a Word document? Not Word document. But you can have a live document where somebody can have access to that live document and they can be making changes. So you can witness 400 entering, but the person who have access, that's what they call backdoor, the person who have access to the program or the document can go in and make that change quickly. But based on how programs are written, there's a footprint. There's always an electronic footprint, whether front door or back door. If you are sharing that document, or if it is software where you have people other than the person who is entering who have, so it's a whole sort of electronic discussion that some of us don't know about. Some of us don't even know how to turn on our computers and put the password, as far as I'm concerned. So what I would do as a people, I would just calm down, request an investigation or explanation, and maybe a forensic computer person from the government, from an independent agent, can clear the minds of solutions at this point that there is no backdoor access. Here is the process of how we process, how we enter and save the information. Because if you go to the electoral department, you can look at the results from way back then, from 19 something. You can look at the results, they're there. Now you can go to the electoral department website and you can look at the 2025. I think it's entered as 2026. I don't know why, but it is entered as 2026 results. I don't know if that is corrected now, but that's what I saw while I was at the command center in Denry. So they enter it so that you can go online and you can view the results. So if our agents can look at the results and say, look, that's not what we have, then we need a review, we need an investigation, fine, let's go with it. But we got to protect the integrity of our election process in the country. And we should not have people just questioning because we lose, we just questioning and we are undermining the integrity of the electoral department, because one day the table will turn and we will be elected and the Labour Party can question also the integrity of the elections because we won and they don't think that we won through the right system. If you say to me there was a lot of money, a lot of illegal stuff when it comes to financing and everything else, I totally agree with you. Saw it with my own eyes. But let us protect the institutions of St. Lucia. We will have to manage it at some point. We will have to sit as leaders in some of these institutions when we take government. And there's an old saying, do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. All right? So I'm going to read some of your statements, and then there is something else, I have something here I came across, I believe, from Tim. So somebody attacked Tim. A gentleman, I think is Jason Siflet. I don't really know the gentleman, but I know he asked a question to the Prime Minister and said, he asked him why you don't maybe attack or whatever it is, something to that. And we thought that was kind of crazy talk, journalists don't act like that, of course, and we had a problem. That's how I get to know the gentleman. But this guy attacked Tim and Rick, and I couldn't understand what he was saying, what he was doing, because Rick and Tim has the right, free speech, freedom of conscience, freedom of expression. He wants to express himself, but then he's saying basically that these two guys should be shut down. Like how the Labour Party does it, you're enemy of the state because you don't support what they're doing. So you're enemy of the state, shut you down, get rid of you, don't make... You saw what they did to me. They said I should not come to St. Lucia, I should be banned. Who said that? That was, what's this guy name? Shelton on NBC said I should be banned. Richard said I should be banned. Should not allow to come. Who is this guy? Should not allow. Why? Because I don't support them. Because I speak on behalf, in favor of the United Workers' Party. Because I don't subscribe to some of the nastiness that these guys do. So I am the enemy of the state based on them. And that's what they were peddling, the Labour Party were peddling that against a number of UWP spokesperson. They were calling you like enemy of the state. Those are, folks, these people are setting things up for by the way, it's an attack, an open attack on free speech as far as I'm concerned. Open attack on democracy. You can speak, I can't speak. Because you support your party, you can speak. I support another one, I can't speak. So I should not come in the country because I'm not SLP. And that's what you have. But these fellas are so blind, they turn things around to say UWP was negative and bad. These guys were cursing and disrespecting vendors and women in our society publicly on the air. They were no threat to democracy. They were not doing nastiness. Huh? What the Prime Minister said, I didn't hear nothing. What he said, the man is a big man. The last time I checked, he's a big man. But then want to lecture us UWPs. And that's the hypocrisy, I'm telling you, that will be exposed on righteousness. My friends, the truth has now become a lie, and the lie a truth. Right is now wrong and wrong is right. That's what we're seeing in our democracy. And many of you are swallowing the nastiness. So here now, Rick is a problem. But here is what happened. Choice TV, which is, as far as I'm concerned, is an arm of the SLP. All the news, you could have read the news and knew that it was this guy, Jason, who was doing some writing over there. Based on what he was saying at the press conference, you can just listen to the news and you know it's a big hack, writing the news. Never in favor of the UWPs. Everything is in favor of the SLP. But they complain about my show that I am only talking good about UWP and I'm not saying nothing good about the Labour Party. That's not my job to speak good about you guys. You find somebody else to speak good. If your guys would stop cursing people's mother, insulting people, threatening people, insulting vendors, if they would stop that, then they will have time to speak good of the Labour Party. How about that? How about that?
That's a very good question. But what I like the best is how we intend to address it.
Yeah, I know it's not a thing.
Intending to address.
I know. So let's read this release from Choice. Choice Media Network published public notice. Choice TV wishes, bear with me, let me just ignore a limit there on my time. Choice TV wishes to inform the public that Jason Siflet is no longer associated or affiliated with Choice Television Network and is not authorized to represent the company in any capacity. Any statements, actions, or content published or circulated by the individual are made solely in their personal capacity and do not reflect the views, opinion, and values and principles of Choice TV, its management, or its staff. We appreciate and thank the public, our viewers and partners, for their understanding and continued support. Choice TV Network, December 8th, 2025. So, just the same guy is gone. The same guy who said that Rick should be gone and Timothy should be gone. So Timothy didn't have a program yesterday. So Timothy went to Haiti.
That's a very good question. But what I like the best is how we intend to address it. I tend to address it. It's not in my. It's not in my. I've passed the stage where I intended when I can address it. But
so say Buladi, caught Tim they're burning some candles somewhere, man. Yes, and Tim is off the air. Yeah, finally, Mr. Jason got him off, and Rick need a wheelchair, so Rick gone too. So here's what I got.
Tim. Yes, you, Tim. We're done with you.
Wait, what happened there? We can't hear nothing. Folks, y'all can hear? Martin, are you?
Tim. Yes, you, Tim. We're done with you. Tim. Yes, you, Tim. We're done with you.
He can't shut it. He's in whoosh. He's in red.
Tim.
So the possibility is there, right? That this man can end up in the office of the Prime Minister. Watch this space. Watch the space, folks. Watch this space. Yeah, you don't believe me? Okay. Okay. So I'm going to read some of your comments. And I would, if you so desire, we're going to open the lines just for a few. 929-586-1821. All right? Let me read from the bottom up, and then I'll go over to our YouTube channel, okay? This is, you are so right, Garfield, wrong, right in this country. Yes. Edward say, Papi show country. That is over there on our Facebook channel. Josie says, my Prime Minister, we need more of those people off the air. Barbara says, that's when they believe they are important. Vidal, so just so you threatening Tim to lose your job. I tell you, watch the space. The man might be a government worker. He asked the right question, and he attacked the right people. Normally, once you attack the right people and you ask, well, the wrong questions at the press conference, then you get hired by the Prime Minister. He'll be in the office. Watch the space, I warn you. And Jolie says, who is he? He can't speak for me. Bear with me, folks. I'm trying to skip some of the comments so that you would not be troubled. Lucy says, Tinubu stole the election for Pear. Both elections, Pear Joseph. Pear is the biggest culprit. Tinubu is in Africa, my friend. James says, lol, paid off, drop off. Edward's poor jab, real joker, we are done with you. Edward says, poor jab, real joker, we are done with you. I don't know who you're talking to, my friend. Elizabeth, yes, we hear. Someone said, Garfield will give me nightmares. D, Garfield, you will give me nightmares tonight. I do apologize, my friend. Pray before you go to bed. You hear me? James says, a SLP stolen, one paid off and dropped off. Shabin. Sagafet. Barbara says, those women in St. Lucia, mental and crackhead. Corwin says, Pastor, the guy is very sick. Plus, the guy is not a nice guy. The guy... Okay, I can't speak Creole. Steven says, well, Garfield, he's fired. Oh, so everybody is... I want to get to the election part. Albert says, Pastor Garfield, this election was not legitimate. Even a blind man can see. Money was spent. I do agree money was spent all over the place. So the elections was not free and fair. The election process had no integrity. Yes, there was a lot of money circulating. I do agree with you 100%. Lucy says, Olliver, mostly all institutions in St. Lucia are poisoned by labor. That's a fact. Elizabeth says, Albert, you're so right. I know what you're talking about, sir. Jean France, we have been elected many times. Never heard about that before. Okay. Barbara says, you can talk till doomsday. I'm not buying it. It was stolen. Ippy, that's it. Well, I'm not here to change your mind, Barbara. I am just here to enlighten, to give information, of course. So if you are believing that, then you are entitled, my friend. He says we will win fair and square. No suspicions. We have integrity, and that's what we need in our process, integrity. D says, Garfield, you can try to change my mind. No, I'm not doing that from now until next election, but I'm sticking to my instinct. Yovole election. Albert says, Garfield, they can enter my amount in the system. For example, when one does inventory in warehouse, they can have manual count on paper, but if you are stealing from the warehouse, they can put an amount. If you find out, they might have a problem then. You check the data entry. It makes sense. And that's right. You got to check. Barbara says they want to think for us like we don't know. I'm not sure who's trying to think for anyone. Charlene, we need an investigation, and that's what I said. Once you have people questioning the integrity of an election, then you would want to have some transparency. You would want someone to check on that so that we can rest the minds of our people. D says, nobody fooling me. I have a brain in my head. Howell says, none of the agents witnessing. That is new. I'm going to document that. So none of the agents witnessed the entry. We'll have to get some clarity on that. CPAL, the agent should take a note of how many votes we get in each polling station. So when they come with fake numbers, the agent can stand and say this number is correct. And that's my point, and you are absolutely right. This is Pappy Show. And that's as far as I can read, I believe. Not all Lucians have brain, some have lentil. Wow. S. Johnson says, my boy Trump is already on deck. Hold that line. On deck for what? I'm not sure. Johnson says, and people, even if we won and there was fraud, we should be able to stand up and say no. We need to have integrity all across the board. Amen. And that is true. We need to have integrity in our elections, and that's why the electoral department need to ensure that there's integrity in the process and that there's transparency and that the citizens are educated as to what is happening here, because the last time while I was in St. Lucia, I was told that there is no electronic voting or vote counting in the country. So I'm not sure what have changed, but let us just watch the space and hope that we can get the information that is necessary. Let's go over to our YouTube channel quickly for updates. Okay, so he says, for the love of money is the root of all evil. What shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul. That is so true, my friend. That's biblical. Only Jesus that can transform the mind. A poll worker said that the system to flag people voting more than once is in different places was down for a great part of the day, and we knew that. We heard a number of reports of the system that was used to check to ensure that people are not double voting and to really identify people. It was for some parts of the day, it was in and out. It was failing at some point. But this is not a system, I believe, of counting the votes. And surprisingly, the counts came in very fast. I was shocked that if we're counting manually, that, we were able to get those results so quickly. They were just coming in one after the other. I don't know. Someone said, Garfield, you should become the next party chairman. Somebody is nominating me to be the chairman of the United Workers' Party. You're looking for trouble, right? Mm-hmm. Good evening, everyone. That is Ruby. Greetings to you. Somebody's asking, how was St. Lucia able to give Jamaica $500 million but can't supply the OKU hospital? I am not sure that St. Lucia gave $500 million to Jamaica. I honestly, I did not hear that. Somebody need to clarify that for me. Someone says, hi, Pastor Garfield. Good evening. To my surprise, I had a chat with my sister-in-law. She told me a Labour supporter was not happy with her party buying votes, so she withdrew her support. Now, there was a lot of vote buying in St. Lucia. I can confirm it. I know it for a fact. That is wrong. That is wrong. Totally wrong. And that's a trend. I'm telling you. The guys who were saying to me, look, give us $5,000. That's what they were saying to me. There's another group, when I showed up, they said to me, a whole group of guys, maybe 20-something of them or 30, sitting on the tree. And these guys said to me, boss man, talk to us. So I said, talk to you about what? Yes, sir. Yeah, the SLP, they're coming soon, They're coming just now. And they're going to be staying down there by the tree. They ain't coming up here. So talk to us. We're ready to vote. But you got to pass something. And one told me, give me $5,000. So there is or has been the practice of vote buying in St. Lucia. And I'm not sure who is willing to address it. We need electoral reform. There should be laws that states vote buying is illegal and penalty should be added to it. Whether you're 10 yards, 100 yards within the polling station or division, it should be illegal to buy votes, to exchange money for votes. We must maintain the integrity of our election process in the region. But what I saw in St. Lucia, it is bothering me. It's a concern. And there's an advantage, a disadvantage to one party over the other. If one is in power, that one have access to money. That one have more money to buy enough votes within the different communities. The other party that is not in power, if they don't have money, they are disadvantaged. They can never win. Because there is vote buying in the country. And sadly, majority of our young men, the boys, are not voting on policies or issues. They are voting if they are being paid. And we are encouraging it as political parties. We are supporting it. We are making provisions for it. We are putting the monies aside. We're investing in vote buying. That is wrong in the democracy. Stone wrong. Reverend, let's just stop. We got to reform our electoral process in the country. We must. I am asking politicians, whether it's Prosper, whoever it is in St. Lucia, stop encouraging vote buying. You are messing with the democracy of the nation. And very soon, you will become like Haiti. No government, out of control system, because you are setting the wrong precedent. It will get so out of control that you would have a problem. These politicians are hurting our future. So it is not who is engaged enough because of, let's say, healthcare policies in the country, or bad roads, or high gas or food prices. It is not about that anymore. It is about who paid the most money. And guess what? All these issues remain issues every election cycle, because it is who have the most money wins. That cannot be. That's dangerous in a democracy. That's what nobody wants to talk about. And because we have a lot of greedy, self-centered, uninformed people in our nation, they don't understand that some policies are a matter of life and death for some families. And because some of them are living in their parents' basement or their parents' home, in a bedroom, a room in their parents' house, and mommy cooking for them, and all they need is a little sniff and some rum and a piece of chicken, and they're good. They don't care. They feel healthy and strong. These are the ones who politicians are engaging and are paying to disrupt real progress in our nation. And our politicians are becoming like gangsters in a civilized society. And they are finding the monies not to put medicine at our hospitals, not to lower gas prices or lower food prices at the supermarkets, not to help build a home for someone or repair it. No, our politicians, gangsters. And they're skillfully evading the laws. And those who are the law keepers are in bed with some of the lawmakers, and business goes on as usual. We are at a very dangerous place in the nation. And people will continue to suffer because politicians can find millions of dollars to buy votes but they cannot find it to put medicines in our hospitals. And who suffers? Granny. Our sick women with cancer. Our mothers with diabetes and high blood pressure. They're the ones who are suffering. Why? Because of boys on the block who all they're comfortable with is a bottle of rum, a beer, some weed, and they're good because they're staying in mommy's house. And all they do is come home to sleep, eat, and back on the block. And politicians are aware of that. And politicians are encouraging this type of nasty behavior. And I'll tell you something. Righteousness will continue to exalt the nation. And I'll also tell you this, friends. Those politicians who practice such, they are dooming our future, dwarfing our future, blighting our future for 5 years of power. And then they pass and are gone. And our young generation are left to continue the same nastiness in the country. Nothing gets done. I am proud of my Vincentian people. My Vincentian people who decide money or not. If you give us a t-shirt and a cap, we'll be happy. But we are going out and we're going to stand for what is right in our nation. We are voting them fellas out. St. Lucia, I declare to you that unless you have voter reform, electoral reform in your country, proper laws to protect the integrity of your elections, you are in for a long, dangerous ride. And that's a fact. Unless we have the will as a people to stand into the streets and protest and demand electoral reform, it will be business as usual in the next 5 years. The people must start a movement now and demand electoral reform. Not talk about backdoor right now and who thief elections. We must stand up and demand accountability. We must stand up now. Enough of the conspiracies. What we are calling for is constitutional, is electoral reform to protect the integrity of the rights that many died for, fought for. Only certain bourgeois were able to vote in St. Lucia. But now all people can vote. And what all people do? Sell their votes for what? Temporary gain. And our politicians are dirty and nasty. They are worse than those who are selling their votes. Those who are buying their votes are upholders of nastiness themselves. And history will deal with them in a very harsh way. That's where the discussion is. Reform. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw the checks, the names on the checks. I saw the cash. I saw the movements. And that's why when I saw Mr. St. Helen, the director of elections in the country, and one of my first questions to him was, what about all the monies that are being spent or being given for the purchasing of vote in this country? Those were my first concern to him when I spoke to him. And today it remains still my concern, because I'm not satisfied. I'm not satisfied with the answer to a very serious question that will damage our future. I think the movement should be on reform. And we should hold this government accountable. If you're a man, if you love your country enough and you're a real patriot, let's start electoral reform, and let us start it now. Let's get experts to come in and look at our election system. Look at the 2001 elections, the 2025 elections. Bring, if you have the guts and the will, and you are sure that all is well, to quiet the voices of the people, I would say to you, bring in experts, not St. Lucians. Bring in experts. Ask the Europeans for help. Ask the United States for help. Ask Canada for help. Tell them we need to check our electoral system to ensure that all is well. I challenge you, Mr. Government. If you love your country enough, bring the experts in. Bring them in. Ease the minds of the people. Prove to us that the people are just fâchés because they lost the elections twice. Prove to the nation that is a bunch of crazy people talking. That's a challenge to you. But for those of you who took the money, I pray and hope that it will last for 4 years. For those of you who took money, I pray that at the hospital, when you go to the hospital, that you will be able to pay your bills. You'll be able to get medication. I pray for those of you, greedy Joes, selfish. Anyone who took money to vote, you are selfish. You are not a patriot. You are not representing the flag of St. Lucia. Any one of you who took monies to compromise the elections, because that's where the compromise is, not really backdoor. The compromise is when you take money for your vote. You stop those who are genuinely willing to vote in protest against bad governance or even good governance. If the Labour Party is good and somebody wants to vote them in and you pay them not to vote, then you are damaging that movement. If the UWP are good and the people want to put the UWP in and you are buying the votes, then you are stopping in track a movement for progress. And therefore, I challenge us a Labour Party guy just text me, I want to read it. Chief, you have a political gopwell. The problem is Chasney. You guys in denial. SLP, that's all they're talking about, Chasney. And I have no gopwell because why am I having a gopwell? I have insurance. I have food. Where's the gopwell? Why is the gopwell? I wasn't expecting any position anywhere. What is the gopwell? I have no gope well, my friend. No gope well at all. Huh? You know? Yep. No gope well. Now, the IMF, we got to look at that report. I am still reading it. I don't want to discuss that 2025 IMF report, but there is something in it that we need to pay attention to. And I'm going to have a program next week, maybe Sunday or Tuesday, or maybe Monday, of course, so that we can go through with some experts from the region. And we're going to discuss the IMF report. I saw some stuff there, and I'm a little shocked that we did not hear much about it. I'm very concerned about that. So watch the space. I know it's late, but I want you folks to have, I want you to have a beautiful night. And you've just been listening to Caribbean American News Media Platform. So those of you who can sing, I look forward to our holiday program where you will have the opportunity to sing. Parang, parang is what he sang. Parang, parang. Dan, 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 dan. But I don't want I want a piece of pork for Christmas. I don't want that song at all. Mama hey cochon. So mavle piece of pork for no Christmas. All right? If it's a piece of goat, lamb, fine. All right? But folks, I want you to stay strong, stay together. Like I said to you, there's an IMF report that I think it's concerning for St. Lucians. There's some good, some bad, and some really ugly in that report. And we got to, as we settle back in to our broadcast, we, friends, got to go through those projections of the IMF for the island of St. Lucia. I don't know if I can see it, but there's something. I wish I could have pulled it now. I wish I could have pulled it out now. Sharon, I told you no ham for the Christmas. Upa 10, no ham. Mavle PS ham on their platform. Wait, let me just see. Give me a minute, folks. We're not going to be long. Let me see if I can get the IMF report. I think I did. Just bear with me. Stay with me. Quickly, I'm not going to keep you any longer. I know it's late in your country. It's about 10 o'clock, 10:24 in St. Lucia and some of the other islands. Just bear with me. That IMF report. Oh, I think I got it now. Okay, good. So I have it here. So there are some concerns. This is the IMF, International Monetary Fund. And there's a report for November the 3rd. Wait, Yeah, I think it's December 4th, 2025. This was after the general elections. So it says that St. Lucia staged a robust recovery following the COVID-19 pandemic. The economy is projected to grow by 1.7% in 2025, following a strong expansion of 4.7% in 2025. So it shows that there was a growth in 2024 of 4.7%. But it is projected for 2025, it is going to be a 1.7, massive slowdown. I'm just running through it quickly, but there's something that I'm reading still, trying to understand what it is saying. So it says inflation was negative in 2024 from lower international food and energy prices, and is projected to increase to 0.8% in 2025, despite improved net exports. So it speaks about long-standing challenges that remain. Nevertheless, income per capita has... So let's just keep going quickly. It says something positive here, that the government has taken important action to address some of the shortcomings to support poor, vulnerable. So what we saw was a decrease of poverty. That's what I'm seeing. Therefore, the government had to take steps to provide support to those individuals, the poor and vulnerable and differently abled, the elderly population. The government increased pensions and minimum pensions, implemented minimum wage, expanded universal health care program, established Ministry for Persons with Disability, announced a plan to establish an unemployment insurance program. Policies were aimed at strengthening the regulatory framework and financial preparedness for natural disasters, and at advantaging renewable energy prospects. So there's some risk there that is tilted to the downside. So you have geopolitical tensions, escalating trade measures, prolonged policy uncertainty could deepen global economic activities, blah, blah, blah. And we got to brace a little to some issues there. So it speaks of weaker than expected performance in tourism, construction sectors may further constrain growth. So this is what St. Lucia is saying, weaker than expected performance in the tourism and construction sectors may further constrain growth. And an increase in recognized non-performing loans, NPLs. It could depress credit growth. So it speaks of uncertainty would weigh heavily on St. Lucia's economy, given its dependence on tourism flows and resilience on imports. Weaker demands from key tourism markets would dampen growth directly and create negative spillovers across other sectors. My God, this is not looking good. Further reducing physical revenues. Upside risk and growth include stronger than expected growth in tourism, construction, and public investment. Stay with me, folks. So it says reforming the tax system will boost revenue, improve equity, and reduce distortions. St. Lucia tax system has a high tax expenditure. Adjustment needed to meet the regional debt target, allowing flexibility based on, feasibility and political economical considerations. To reform options include tax measures. I'm going to ask Philip Juppé administration, are you going to increase taxes in 2026? Just asking. shortening property exemptions, and reforming fuel taxes, and increasing excesses on alcohol and tobacco, tax administration measures, strengthening audit, inspection. Okay, so the IMF is recommending more taxes on products in St. Lucia. That's what basically they're saying. Listen to this. Listen to this, and I'm going to highlight this. I think tomorrow I'm going to write an article on this. Listen what it says. The recent increase in pension benefits amid a rapidly aging population creates long-term physical risk and requires forward-looking reforms. The National Insurance Corporation, NIC, expenditures are projected to exceed income by 2035, with reserve depletion by 2051. Wow. Reforms including higher contribution rates, lowering replacement rates, increasing the retirement age, introducing pension caps, and or voluntary investment options. So remember the government said, well, which, the retirees the pensioners were not getting a lot, some of them, and they could not live. It was not livable. They could not survive. So the government tried to give them an increase in their pension, but the IMF is saying, hold a minute, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a big risk. Let me see where it is. I think I just read it. Yeah. That they spoke of the CIP program, and they did highlight that there are some efforts to strengthen the CIP program. But this one caught my attention. The recent increase in pension benefits. And we saw the government before the elections pouring in a lot of monies, giving it like it was a freebie, just giving away money, and some people believe it was an election gimmick. But the report is saying that the recent increase in pension benefits amid a rapidly aging population creates long-term physical risks, and their actions that they're recommending to improve on that, and that one of them is to increase the pension age. So, based on this report, we will go through it. I'll get the experts to deal with this, to explain what is happening here. Maybe Mr. Guy Beers, Frank Myers, to go through this report, the IMF report. So I'll see if I can get him, the chartered accountant, of course, to come on with us maybe on Monday or Tuesday, so we can go through this report, this IMF report of December the 4th, 2025, a few days after our elections. I'm a little concerned with some of the stuff that I'm reading there. The recommendation for increased taxes, increasing the tax burden on people. Folks are already vulnerable. And folks, that report does not look... that's what I'm saying. We got to take our time, and we got to go through it with the experts so that we will not make any mistake and alarm St. Lucians. We do not want to just create an alarm where people panic and people are afraid, but the report is what it is, and we'll have to go through it line by line with I will try my best. I promise you, we'll try to get chartered accountant Mr. Frank Myers to come on to explain to us this report, this IMF report. Some of you missed it. Some of you didn't see it because of the elections. And I don't like what I'm seeing, to tell the truth. There's a lot of risks in this report. And some of them are short term, some of them are long term. Especially with the pensioners, or maybe all the monies that we were given away in these elections and all the grand ceremonies. Maybe we could have put it into good use, but this is a problem. The outlook here, to me, based on what I'm seeing, I don't think I like it. I don't think I like what I'm seeing here. Yeah. It looks like the recommendation is an increased taxes. And I'm not expecting at the gas pump that you're going to get any relief in a hurry. Because right now, because government have increased the amount of, I won't call it freebies, the amount of Santa Claus things that they have been doing, I believe it's going to put some pressure on the finance of the state, and they will have to increase revenue at some point. So let's wait for the experts, but I will ask you, St. Lucians, don't spend uselessly. Some of you have elections money that you got. Put it aside. There might be a storm before us. Put your little monies aside. Ease off on the nightlife and all the unnecessary drinking and smoking, and cook your food at home instead of buying all the time. Try to start slowing down and prepare for some of the challenges that you're going to face in 2026, 2027. You got to watch the space. Please, my St. Lucians, take care of yourself and listen to my stupid advice and start conserving, start saving your little dollars for wet days. John Compton would say to you, Lucians, watch your bread. And he might have said also, if you have old clothing, don't throw it away. Put it under your bed. You might need it in the future. This is another Caribbean American News Media platform. It was nice being here with you. And we look forward to... Okay, somebody is saying, according to what I read from the IMF, that tax will increase by 2030. The NIS will or might be broke. Yeah, because they just added a major burden on the pension system. They were doing a lot of stuff. You heard them recently, just giving away. Some of the giveaway was necessary, because some people could not survive, elderlies on the pension that they were getting. But what I'm saying, we got to allow CIP to work. If we're going to continue with CIP, allow CIP to work for the people of the country. I am not sure that the government will remove the 2.5%, and I do not think that they're going to reduce taxes. I think they will have to start digging for revenue, and where they're going to dig in your pockets. You are the ones who will pay for a lot of the election gimmicks. You, my friends, so brace yourself to start paying. And for those of you who got paid, I have nothing to say to you. What a man sow, that shall he also reap. Therefore, I stand with those who did not get paid to vote, but those who make a conscious decision and decided, look, I'm going to exercise my my constitutional franchise. I'm going to go and I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote on this policy. I'm going to vote for this. I'm going to vote for that. I know a number of St. Lucians who voted for healthcare in particular. And I am saying, friends, one lady told me her daughter needs an urgent operation, and she's praying that Alan Chastney wins so that her daughter can get the intervention that is needed. And she started making calculations. She started counting, and she's saying, look, oh yeah, this amount, and she'll be able to get it done if Mr. Chastney is elected. So it is what it is, friends. Good night. Appreciate every one of you. Yeah, blessings to you.